feels they start a business and they don't turn it around to make it a money-making venture, they've failed at the venture. They are a failure, right? If a person tries to win over somebody and it doesn't work, they fail, right? First, people do things and they feel that if I don't succeed, then I am a failure, and if I fail at the things I've attempted, then that means I'm worthless, right? That is false, not true, incorrect, right? If you go back in time and in history, 5,772 years, a couple of months, and a little bit more, right? You sneak a peek behind the curtain, and you'll see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is having a discussion with the Malachim, the angels in Shemayim. Right? Hashem is saying that He wants to create on top of the world, the whole things that He's created, rivers and valleys and plant life, all sorts of verdure and everything else. He wants to create the human being. And the angels are saying, forget about it. Right? The human being is cantankerous, prone to argument and fights. They'll lie and they'll cheat and they'll steal. And those are their good qualities. Not worth it. You have this whole beautiful thing. Don't spoil it. Don't ruin it by creating the human being. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu has two responses. He doesn't say no, they won't sin. They'll be fine. They'll behave themselves. He doesn't say that at all. The Kadosh Baruch Hu's response is, it's not for nothing that I'm called Aracham V'Chanan, merciful and not graceful, but grace-giving, right? Eina Chanami. Yes, it's 100% true. People will be mean and nasty, and they'll make mistakes. But nonetheless, I'm going to create mankind. Now, again, usually when we look at a midrash like this, we see only the immediate focus, which in this particular case is Adam Rishon, and if you want to look at it, a little more broadly, Adam Rishon and Chava. But the truth is that midrash is said about each and every one of us, right? That when the scales are being weighed, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was considering creating you and sending you into this world, there were some complaints. Huh. She, what she's going to do? That guy? Oh, forget about it. The guy's going to be a monster. And yet, you see, we're all here. Right? All the things, and I won't extend for anybody to confess their sins in public, right? Well, think of all the things you've done wrong and some of the things that you are not proud of, right? Before your mother and father met, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that they would meet and you would come into the world as a result. And He said, I know, and I want him here. I want you here. Right? HaKadosh said, it's worth it to me to have this person in the world, especially when you consider that it's a Jew, right? She'll light Shabbos candles once in 70 years, despite everything else, worthwhile. He'll put on tefillin, he'll put something in, he'll write out a check for tzedakah. It's worth the whole 70 years, right? So, stop and think. 1 second. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw fit to create me, knowing that I would fail at this, knowing I would strike out, being Charlie Brown, in all my, things that I try to do to succeed in this world, even though I'd be at the bottom of my class and I'd be, all these sorts of things. Him calls that. Nonetheless, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, yes, I want you here. That's a tremendous, that should really, and it doesn't necessarily happen immediately, that should really, give us pause to think, wow, I'm a worthwhile human being. And the proof is that I'm here. I've been around for a long time, with all my shortcomings. That includes the shortcomings, the mistakes that we're going to make yet. Right? And those are also included.
When you're fighting against opposition, though, surely you have to go look at who the authorities are who are opposing you, and how do you, in retrospect, we know that Avraham Avinu made the right choices, but he went against the religious establishment of his time. He went against father.
Hold on. At least 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Right? And if it doesn't happen in 5 minutes, remind me. Right? Now, this, the objections of the Malachim when the world was created were repeated. It happened not all over again, but very similarly by Matan Torah. Right? Again, Moshe Rabbeinu is up there, quote unquote, and Har Sinai, and the Malachim said, what are you giving them the Torah for? You're wasting it on them, right? You're wasting it. Even the ones you give brains to, right? People don't use enough brain power. They let themselves be influenced by almost anything else. We talked about, somebody mentioned marketing before, all these tricks, and all these, only special people know about this thing, and there's, quantities are limited, so act now, right? Everything in this world is limited, right? To say quantities are limited, of course quantities are limited, there's nothing infinite here, right? So there's this whole trick, and the Malachim said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they're too stupid to appreciate the Torah. And they won't do it justice, not in the study of it and not in the performance. Right? In deference to our dear friend David Shweki, I'll give a mashal from the Ben Ish Chai. Right? Even though he was from a different country, right? So he's one of the brothers anyway. You have to please forgive me. Okay, the Ben Ish Chai gives a beautiful mashal. He says there was a rich man, and he had tremendous properties and all sorts of wealth. And shortly before he passed away, he converted all his holdings into gems of various sorts, and he took a pair of overalls or something, if I remember the description properly, and he put the gems in various pockets and sewed up all the pockets, with all the gems in them. And before he died, he said, "This is for my son." And he passed away. So that's what he said. But he had 2 sons, and they didn't know which of the 2 sons he met. The father meant. So they went to a Bet Din. They went to a Jewish court to present a case to whom belongs this gem-filled pair of overalls. So the older of the 2 sons, he was handsome and intelligent and was extremely bright and knowledgeable and every sort of talent. And he said, to the judges, obviously, because of my great talents and, etc., my father meant it for me. And the judge said, okay. And they said to the second son, who was, nerdy and this and that, and didn't have too much going for him. And so he said, well, let's see who the pants fit. That's obviously what my father meant it for, right? And of course, the pants fit him, and so the older, more intelligent, and more perfect son is the Malachim, the angels. They wanted the Torah, and the klutzy son, was us, right?